The Todd Shapiro Show.
Time to hit the button!
On Canada Talks, Sirius XM 167.
Paul, I got to interrupt. Can you stick around for a little bit? Can you hang out with us?
Yeah.
We're just going to, do you have them lined up? We're just going to put him on phone. He's my next guest, but he had to expedite it because apparently he's helping out with some flood relief or something. So he's doing some great charitable work. But we'll just do this together. Paul Morrissey's hanging out in studio. And then one of my good buddies, and he's the, I don't know if you're still the CEO, but you're heavily involved in St. George's Eco Mining and the ZU crypto networks. And he's just got a big, fascinating brain. Hard to understand, but don't blame his French accent. Hey, Frank Dumas here. Hey, Frank.
Hey, how are you doing?
Well, our hockey pool could be going better.
You actually moved up past me, so that's okay.
Yeah, it was a very interesting year for hockey pools because I think, everyone pretty much took Tampa Bay. Most people would have taken, I think, even Pittsburgh. I think there's just a lot of teams here that people didn't take. So I did pick, it's wild. Because, there's fact-based Todd and emotional Todd. Emotional Todd wanted the Leafs to hoist the cup. But I actually did choose Boston in 7.
Oh, wow.
That's the one I'm up on. Right, Frank?
Yeah. And you and Nia picked up San Jose in 7. So that's why I was mentioning Fat Tony interaction earlier today.
Who's fat? Yeah, this on Twitter. You can follow him at Macon5. I'm always afraid to retweet things that have fat in them anymore these days.
Oh, he said fat. I thought he said something else.
No. Who's Fat Tony?
Fat Tony is the guy who fixed soccer match and football match in The Simpsons.
Oh, okay.
So you think that's a fix? The fix is on there. That call was BS.
So Krusty the Clown.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You saw the ref and how they operated during both these games. So, hey, I can blame you to reach out to Fat Tony, desperate like you were.
Frank, and you're doing some, what happened? Where are there floods right now in Canada? I didn't know about
the floods are from, the whole Ottawa River. So if you go just a little bit past Ottawa, and probably even Ottawa, but if you the whole river coming to Montreal into the Montreal archipelagos, also most of the islands on the west side, they're getting hit. A few of them have been evacuated, but there's a few hundred houses, if not over 1,000, that are flooded right now or in danger of being flooded. We have sandbags building walls around it. So we're going around and loading up the trailer with sandbags, and all the truck is able to go into water a little bit. We help people raise the walls around their houses.
Are those heavy? Those sandbags? I always want to know that. I watch the guys; they pass them and they pass them. And I'm like, I think I'd maybe drop it.
If you look at the Army, their sandbags are nice because they're all the same weight.
Yeah.
These guys are standardized, so they know how to. It's always the same momentum. But you get a certain momentum with bags that should be around 50 pounds. And then some kids that were doing, some 5 years old that were doing volunteer work at the place where they fill the sandbags, decide to ambition themselves. And, you get that 85, 100-pound bag suddenly thrown at you. And you're not expecting it. So that's from time to time you get some of these very heavy ones.
That was my job. I had that job for one day. We were supposed to do 200 sandbags for this construction company. It was me and my friend. And so when there's only 2 of you, one guy just holds the bag and the other guy shovels. And so it's the worst system. And I think we did it for 8 hours and had maybe 30. And we were already well, we're not going to finish. So let's just go get something to eat, and then we'll explain to them why. So we basically quit after a day. That's real work right there, man.
Yeah, you're all man.
Yeah.
Paul Morrissey, everybody, comedian at Absolute Comedy this weekend.
Yeah, just be glad I'm not filling the sandbags for you.
Well, that's nice of you. Why are you helping out? That's so nice. Yeah, I'm always amazed by people who help out.
Well, it's first. With the job we do, it's very cerebral. And at one point, you're stuck on problems. And often I do that. I go do volunteer work on jobs that are manual, where it's repetitive. Somebody give you that job, and you go to help, shovel, sand, stuff like that. And it kind of free your mind. And come back to work after, and you realize, okay, I have some solutions to the problems. If the brain can work in the background while you're doing this thing. And and it's my neighbors. Like I don't have water in my house, but at less than 100 feet, there's some people that have sandbags around their house. So I'm not too far from the river. The boulevard behind my house is flooded. So I know a few people. So we organize and we jump in and out. So we still work 8-10 hours during the day, and in between, we go put another few hours helping people and jumping to what's the most urgent. And there's some perk to it also.
Well, listen, you're helping out. That's a great perk.
I'm in an episode of first. I'm one of the rare ones that can go through the police lines because they give me that orange vest, so I'm abusing it. Also, I'm in an episode, like a funny episode of Nature Fight Back. Like I just saw, just before I called you, I just saw a journalist from CBC being attacked by Canadian geese. That's like...
I could watch that all day long. I could watch any CBC journalist get attacked by anything.
I'm right there with you, so you can imagine just that. It's worth the 5 days.
Especially when they put Omar Khadr on a talk show and then give him an applause when he comes out. Did you see that, Frank?
Yeah, I saw that, and I know a few of the guys on that show, like the people that organize it and all that, like the researchers, the people that do the research and get the people in. I understand certain point regarding Omar Khadr. I understand the part where Canadian, no matter who you are, no matter how much we hate you and how much we would like you to be just drawn out of this world. Torture is not okay, and we should protect our citizens. But at the same time, even Justin Trudeau, I'm a conservative, so I'm partisan there, but even Justin Trudeau said he's not comfortable with the fact that they paid out the money to Khadr. Like, he still did it. I would have preferred that they went with the trial and see what happened. But, it makes me extremely uncomfortable to see the CBC fawning over that guy, like knowing that his family is still involved with Al-Qaeda. And I don't know. Like, is he reform? Is he really reform? $10 million will reform a lot of people usually.
Well, and for me, the talk show was the issue wasn't him having being on the show, was just applauding and having music. Like it's with my guest here, Paul Morris. He's been on the Craig Ferguson show 4 times. It's not like you shouldn't be applauding someone with the sketchy kind of past, and I still don't really understand the charge of murder, the belligerent sort of a way about it. But
the problem I have with it is nobody had a backbone, or nobody had the how can I say, the male fortitude, and I know it's probably not politically correct.
Whatever, testicular fortitude, I don't care.
Yeah, know what I mean. Like, nobody had the balls to actually ask him the tough questions. One of the questions, you just got $10 million. Why don't you, help out the widow of the soldiers that you might or might not have killed?
He pleaded guilty, but then he said he wasn't guilty. Yeah. It was, it's a confusing story. But you just don't applaud the guy.
Yeah, but who cares? Let's say that you're not guilty. You just came in $10 million because, yes, you got torture. Yes, the Canadian government didn't protect you to the full extent that they should have. But you know that you have the widow of someone, a medic, that got killed, in an operation where you were somehow
Christopher Spear, you were around. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So the widow and the children, the young children of that gentleman, now have some financial problems. You got $10 million. Why don't you just send $500,000 or $1 million to these people? That's the kind of question.
That's a great point, man. Maybe even half of it. Yeah, that's a very nice way of looking at it. Let's move away from all these serious talk and let's talk some business talk. And are there any updates with the ZU crypto networks?
Well, definitely. There's a few good things there. In between, and while the flooding is going on, we made some great progress. So we have this blockchain email that we're about to start in beta testing. And we're going to use our shareholder and probably your listener to beta test it. So we're going to have our website up very soon, before mid next week. So it should come this week, between now and Sunday. And we'll start to take people's coordinates to become beta tester of our application. And one of the things that I can give you as an exclusive here is that we'll, for anyone who's a shareholder, by the end of this month, of St. George or ZU, like anyone we have on our list, we will give them a lifetime premium membership of that application. So they'll get access to it without paying. And we'll also give them first pass at getting the cool name for their email address. So that's some of the things we'll do. And you'll be probably able to test it, and we'll be able to discuss the first reaction next week. One of the funny things is about 2 weeks ago, we ran the first few tests, and at this point, the application is like a skeleton without the skin on top or without the muscle on top. We kind of add the muscle now, which are the gateway to connect to legacy email system or legacy email application, because we're going to have to do that at the beginning. So that before we have a critical mass of people using strictly the blockchain-to-blockchain application, which is going to be a lot more secure and eliminate the spam. But we test the first, and earlier this week between the chief architect of ZU and me, and I received this first email, which is the first email from a blockchain to a legacy email application. And the subject was, "Dear friend," and my first reaction was, "Oh my God, that Nigerian prince found my email again," because nobody calls me Dear Frank, and to realize, oh my God, no, it works. It's the blockchain that it's the email that originated the blockchain is coming my way. And when I said, well, we knew it would work, well, we expected it to work. We couldn't foresee any problems, but it works very well for now. So that's. We'll see what happens when it's tested in the real world with real people.
And Frank, if this gets going for the ZU Crypto Networks in a blockchain email, could this be unlimited in terms of the capacity of people that could eventually use it?
Definitely. Like expect. Let's say we were very successful with it, and I'm touching wood. Actually, I'm touching. I hope it's wood. It's called wood imitation in the truck. We can run hundreds of millions of people on this one. If you look at other small email application, they have tens of millions on it, and it doesn't mean that people will leave Outlook or they will leave ProtonMail or the other ones. They might just use us for certain email they send.
Paul, do you have any questions for Frank about this? Do you know what he's talking about?
Does it have something to do with Bitcoin? I heard blockchain.
See, everyone thinks it's funny how people think that, Frank?
Well, up to a certain point, Bitcoin was pretty much the first blockchain protocol that really got democratized or got a critical mass and attract enough of people. But the Bitcoin itself is the cryptocurrency that runs on top of the Bitcoin blockchain protocol. So behind the currency itself, there's a protocol, and you're going to have other things running on it. You have Bitcoin SV, you have a few other fork or variant of cryptocurrency. So yeah, you could technically, in a few weeks, you could use the Bitcoin protocol to send an email to somebody else who has an email behind an Ethereum protocol using our distribute application.
Makes sense.
All
That cleared up for you at all? No, Paul's shaking his head here.
Rolling in dough is what I'm going to be.
And what about, real quick, last update here, anything going on with St. George's Eco Mining?
Yes, definitely. Like, we're waiting now this week. Probably happen this afternoon, so I'm expecting the email anytime now. We're still doing the second phase of tests for the lithium extraction technology. And we should be able to have an update on this in the coming, I would say, I don't want to put pressure on Enrico on this side, but let's say within the next 10 10 working days, we should have an update on this.
And my wife is going to Iceland very soon, going on a trip with her brother and sister. They're spending some family time together, and I understand why she'd want to get away from me. What are some great places in Iceland she should go visit, or people who are going to Iceland, Frank? Because I know you know it very well, which is you own all the mining rights in Iceland for St. George's Eco Mining, so figured you could be a tour guide too.
Well, we could definitely give you a few pointers. Like there's stuff that's a little bit outside of the touristic path. She's coming in the right time. It's May is a perfect month to get into Iceland. You don't have too many tourists yet, but the weather is good. It's a matter of light. You don't want to be in Iceland. Well, you still want to go there, but expect to have like a few hours only of sunlight when you go in December. You get
so
in May.
Crazy, eh?
Don't go on Go Air, whatever that. What was the one that just?
That's WOW Air. That's WOW Air.
WOW Airlines. Did you hear about that?
Know what happened to WOW Airlines?
All of my friends, like LA, had a direct flight to Iceland on this WOW Airlines, and it was like dirt cheap. So everyone I know in my life has been going to Iceland. It's like, how is everyone going to Iceland? And then all of a sudden on the website, it was like thousands stranded as WOW Airlines shuts down during the middle of the night. Like at midnight, they just stopped business.
Stopped everything.
All
didn't matter where people were. They couldn't even get them home.
It's crazy.
We flew in. We flew in about when they went back. When they went bankrupt, we flew in from London City, and as we were landing in Keflavik, when the phone got live again, and we were landing in a blizzard, we learned that the airlines was bankrupt. So when we landed at the tarmac, we got to a gate. There was no one to welcome us.
Oh my God!
We had to wait for the airport security to come and commandeer some of the escalator to get out and get into the terminal. And we learned that the connection flight we had to take a few days later back to Montreal was not happened. So we had to find another flight. So we flew 2 days later to Minneapolis Simple, and then ran to another terminal and rechecked into another company and got to Montreal very late. But
I get why they call it WOW, though, because you're on the plane one day and then you're like, wow, I'm stranded here.
It did seem like a scam because it was like $99 direct flight to Keflavik there, and I was like, and that's less than one night in a hotel. I'll just go.
Go for fun. Yeah.
And everyone, it seemed like, was going there. I mean, it worked because it was like a big tourism push is what they did.
But, I see.
So what happens now with this airline? Were they just not making any money, or is it?
They were paying people to fly on it.
Right.
That's because of competition. But they represent themselves directly between 1% and 2% of the GDP of Iceland. And then if you add all the business that they were supplying tourists to, it got up to 5-6%. So now they're scrambling to revive the airline. And I know that there's a crowdfunding financing being done to help them to get back on. But
wow!
I don't know.
So you liked us before for $99? Well, pay us now and don't even fly. WOW Airlines. Frank Damas joining us from St. George's Eco Mining and the ZU Crypto Networks and helping out with all the floods going on in Ottawa and up into Montreal. Hey, listen, man, we really appreciate every time you come on the show, and it's always really fascinating talk. We're looking forward to finding out more about your email system on the blockchain and these announcements that you have coming down with St. George's Eco Mining, and good luck with the lithium extraction technology.
Well, zucrypto.io, monitor it. The website's going to go live in a few days, and we're going to start to take the names of the people that want to participate into the beta testing of the application.
We appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
When does the spaceship start? Is he going to the moon yet? He's like Elon Musk, this guy.
You know what? He is. He's sort of like a Canadian Elon Musk, actually. His mind is out there, and he gets stuff done.
Just a little bit crazier, with no resource, with absolutely no resource.
Well, Elon.
So we'll go to the moon with some plywood and duct tape.
We'll make it there. Okay. Well, you'll be stranded there too, like WOW. So no difference. Okay. Thanks, Frank.
Bye.
Okay, appreciate chatting with you.
This is the Todd Shapiro Show on Canada Talks, Sirius XM 167.